Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So we need to label our graphs here properly because we don't know what this graph is about. So it would be a good idea to label it. Now, since we have a a space up at the top here, we could use this to actually create a label for our graph. So the way we can do this is by opening the graph thingy itself. So let's go to the graph model. That's the graph. Because adding text is very simple. We can put one item in here and say title. Let's call it title. Okay. So we'll say this title is for now I'll just say graph title, right? That's the default value. And then what I'll do is I'll go down here and create some text at the very end because it's better to add that title at the end, I guess. It doesn't really matter because it's in its own space anyway. So the extra is 100. In the Y it's 50, is it? Yes, it's 50. So which means there's about, I don't know, it's 100 pixels here because extra is times 2 on the y-axis. So 100 pixels. So if we put it at 50 pixels, it will be somewhere in the middle. But let's try and add a title here. So it's up to you. You can add the title at the end or at the beginning. It doesn't really matter. So let's put this, or this is HTML, it's not PHP. So say graph title over here, like so. And so I'm going to say text because that's how we add text. Okay. Now if you want to add 2 rows of text, here I can just say some text like this, and that's it. If you want to add 2 rows of text, you will use tspan like this. Okay, and then close that tspan over there, duplicate it, some text 1, some text 2, like this. And then inside this text, of course, we need our x and y coordinates. So our x, maybe let's give it 10 pixels on the x-axis. On the y, let's give it about 20 pixels. Okay, so this will be black text, I guess. And as you can see, some text 1, some text 2. Oh, wait a minute. Why are they on the same line? Let's put a break tag and see if that helps. Ah, look at the break tag. It went all the way down there for some reason. Interesting. I don't remember how to actually break up these two. I'll check it out later. But for now, this is not what I want. What I want here is to echo out this title, right? The title at the top of the oopsie. This title is whatever title is at the top of the class there, right there. So in our case, it's graph title. Now the y-axis went overboard, so let's put a 1 there so that it's 10, 10. Let's see what we get with that. Still, that's a little bit. Oh, I forgot. You know what I forgot is that we offset this thing actually. This is where the header, the top part is coming from. The offset here, we did a minus extra, right? So what we may do is let's use the extra as well. Let me copy that. And then in the y-axis, let's put that extra. I copied everything except the PHP tags. So extra there in a negative sense. So I'll put the minus over there, like so. Aha, so that went too far. So, excuse me. What I can do is do some math in here and then divide it by 2. And there we go. So we have graph title. So now how do we change the title? So we can change the title now because as you remember, we can change these things that are here because they are public before we we run the class. Sorry about that. I almost sneezed there. Yes, let's go. So here I would duplicate this and say graph title is equal to, and then put a title there. So today's sales, like that. Now that becomes the title before we display it. So, and as you can see, today's sales. Okay. So that's what it is. And then I can put some styles here, like I had said, styles, and I want a few styles here. For example, I want the width to be 75%, and then I want margin to be auto, so that left right is on the center, and then display it as a block display, because images are usually inline. So display block, because if I don't put it as block, it won't move to the center. So let's try that, and there we go. So it's in the center and it's 75%. Okay, pretty good. That's what I wanted. So of course I can change other parameters, but for now this looks okay. Maybe 80%. Let's try that. Looks a bit too small. Pretty good. Okay. Today's sales. Okay, cool. Then from here I can now add a break tag. Let me move these. Wait. Let me do this. Let me close that. Open the PHP tags again. I want to put a break tag there, and then put another graph over here. So I'm going to duplicate this like so. Yeah, so I don't need to do new graph at all, because already we have that. This will just waste memory. So let's do that. Instead of daily, now we're going to go for monthly, and then instead of today's records, it's this month records. And let's mute that. Okay, so today's sales, no, the title will be this month. Okay. The rest I'll leave as it is. The title has changed, the data is here. Okay, good. So let's look at what the month records are. So it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, so let's copy from the functions here. Let's duplicate our the code that is in here, copy. Let's paste it in the monthly section like this, because it's pretty much going to be the same. So instead of an hour, we want to look at, this is a monthly view, so we want to look at the day. So because a month is separated by days, so, and of course here we will change that to D. Wait, I usually do Y and D. Okay, so I just want the D to get the day. So everything else remains the same, except we need to have how many days are in that month, right? Usually it's 30, but not every month has a specific number of days, because February has 28. So luckily in PHP we have a function that helps us to do that. So I can say total days is equal to, there's a function called cow, yeah, that's the one, cow days in a month, like that. So this is the function. It will tell you the number of days in that month. So copy that and let's put that there. So we'll loop by the number of days in our current month, and everything else pretty much remains the same. Okay, so now we don't have day 0 in a month, so we'll start this at 1, right? And then since we need to include the last day, maybe let's say the total number is 31, we need to include that. So I'll put greater than or equal to, so that we include the very last day as well once we start with 1. All right then, so that looking good. Now what we need to add here is we need to tell it what month we are talking about. So it's this month, and to get this month is easy. We use date again, the date function, and then put just that M there will give us the month. Same thing with year, the current year, we can use date and then put capital Y there. Okay, good. So that's our year, that's our month. And then there's calendar here. Now calendar is an integer. Now it may be difficult to remember because there's several different calendars that humans use. So if you don't know the calendar, you may memorize the Gregorian calendar that I use personally is integer 1. There's some that are 2, others are integer 3. Now numbers can become a bit difficult to remember, so you can use constants instead. For the constants for mine is cow Gregorian, like that. Now this is a constant that comes with PHP, right? So once I put this, PHP will turn this into the integer it represents, in this case, which is 1. So all this is just because it's easier to remember as a human being than an integer of 1. Now if you don't know, you have a different calendar that you use, you don't use the Gregorian calendar, that's okay. You can go to php.net and look for predefined constants. You can actually do a Google search. I don't remember what I googled. I googled PHP calendar constants, yes, and then you get the one that has php.net, and here they are. So there's the Eastern default. This is one calendar. I don't know who uses this Julian calendar, so you can read about this. Eastern Roman, Gregorian, which is the one I have used, Julian, Jewish, French calendar, etc., etc. So there's quite a bunch here that you can check. Okay, so once you have that, then you need to tell us what we have and we'll get a result. So once the result is done, let's come back here. Everything seems to be set, and that's good. So let's come back and see our new graph. Okay, so this month's sales. So only in wait a minute, what are these things? Oh yeah, so only on day 8 did we do anything, right? Now the same way, wait a minute here, 430. So the same way we added text like here, you can also add text down here. Just find the coordinates for down here and say days. This one is hours of the day. Maybe that label is required. And then here it's obviously the value. So we will do that in a later video. We'll put the labels down here so that we know what we are looking at here. Are these hours or days or what? Because they seem to not matter here this month. Okay, so from day 1 to day 30, from hour 0 to hour 23, and so on. So the one that remains now is for the year. Okay.